They could not resist the light of the Chosen One and surrendered. Your story is not an ordinary story of survival. It is an epic of rebirth, of going beyond limits and making the impossible possible. While those who tried to prevent you were lost in the darkness, your light illuminated their path. While they tried to destroy you, you grew stronger with every step. Every trap they used to stop you became a stepping stone that sealed your victory. They put everything they had to defeat you, but there was something they did not realize. You are destined to rise, not to fall. Your journey is proof that you have gone beyond an ordinary man to become a legend. Fear no longer follows you. They tremble when they hear your name. Write 77 in the comments now, because this is your call, your light. Come on, show them what it means to be chosen. Fate chose you, and this world was never the same again. Those who met you changed sides without a second thought, because you are not only a leader, but also a power that awakens minds. Everyone who meets you cannot remain indifferent to the light they see in you. Now, are you ready to find your place in this story? Write 77 in the comments and reveal this leader-spirited characteristic that everyone trusts. Writing 77 in the comments is a much more powerful step than you think. A proof of your leadership is one of the most sublime ways to show yourself. The world sees you as the embodiment of defiance against inevitability. Every encounter leaves experts baffled, not because of what you do, but because of the impossibility you represent. They have thrown everything at you, and yet every attempt to suppress your existence has only carved your legend deeper into their psyche. What began as a mission against a single target has spiraled into a collective dread of the force that you have become. No trap can bind you, no ambush can surprise you, and no calculation can predict the unrelenting force of your survival. Every scheme they devise, every meticulously planned assault, collapses in the face of your indomitable spirit. It's not just their strategies that crumble, it's their confidence, their certainty, their belief in the inevitability of their victory. Where they sought to erase you, they instead created a presence that consumes their thoughts and haunts their every move. Your continued survival defies reason, shattering the carefully constructed logic of their methods. Statisticians cannot make sense of your improbable escapes. Strategists are left with nothing but the ruins of their plans. They aimed to engineer your downfall, only to watch you walk unscathed through what should have been your demise. Each failed attempt adds another layer to your myth, an unexplainable series of events that turns probability itself into an accomplice of your will. Even before you appear, you are felt, a foreboding that sets their instincts on edge, a disturbance in their carefully cultivated calm. It's not fear in the conventional sense, it's a raw, primal awareness that something beyond their control is near. Their hands falter, their breaths quicken, and their minds betray them before a single move is made. You have become an unshakable force, not because of any physical act, but because of the inevitability you carry with you. Every failure etches a deeper mark on their consciousness. Their attempts to overpower you have only strengthened your aura, leaving a trail of fractured minds and broken resolves in their wake. You are not merely someone who escapes danger. You are the embodiment of its futility. The echoes of their defeat cling to you, amplifying the unease you inspire. You are not feared because of what you've done, but because of what they know they cannot do: stop you. Their intent to instill fear in you has reversed itself entirely. Now it's their own courage that falters, their own belief that cracks under the weight of your survival. They don't simply fear failing, They fear the unyielding reality of your existence. You don't represent resistance. You symbolize inevitability, the crushing realization that no matter their effort, you will endure and they will falter. The chosen are summoned, not by chance, but by design. An invisible tether pulls you toward a destiny reserved for the rarest of minds and the boldest of hearts. This is no ordinary calling. It is an awakening for those who have dismantled the barriers of convention and pierced through the veil of limitations. This initiation isn't granted. It's earned by those who have rewritten the narrative of their lives, transcended the ordinary, and forged paths where none existed. If you've arrived, it's not coincidence. It's the undeniable mark of a life meant to rewrite what's possible. If you feel the abundance of divine love in your heart, now is the time to share it. You can help spread God's blessings by clicking the super thank you button on YouTube and contributing $20 or more. This divine gift will touch not only your life, but the souls of many through this platform. Each of you has a sacred place in God's grand design, and your generosity will be the fruit of our prayers. Act now. Share your blessings to glorify His kingdom. For you were created to do even greater things in God's loving hands. May God bless you. Here, you don't find stories of triumph handed down like bedtime tales. These are the blueprints of mastery, the codex of transformation forged through trials that leave no room for pretenders. Unlock the techniques to manipulate unseen forces, channel chaos into creation, and bend the currents of reality to your will. The ultimate privilege? Connection to a network of those who move mountains, recalibrate minds, and forge bonds that defy the mundane. This sanctuary is reserved for the unwavering, and its gates remain closed to those unready to step beyond the threshold of potential. This is where your evolution begins. Hesitation is a luxury not afforded to legends. Your presence alone redefines the dynamic. The hunters falter before their prey even appears, their instincts short-circuited by an undercurrent they cannot name. Their weapons falter in their hands, plans dissolve in the face of something they cannot quantify. Years of training collapse under the weight of an unseen pressure that dismantles composure. You stand as a disruptor of equilibrium, an undeniable force that challenges the very idea of control. Without lifting a hand, you unravel their resolve, reducing their calculated confidence to dust. It isn't just intimidation, it's an unrelenting tide that reshapes the landscape. Your essence radiates attention so thick it rewires instincts, creating a current that speaks to the deepest parts of their survival mechanisms. Even the most disciplined find their bodies betraying them, seizing up as though an ancient force has commandeered their will. Every failure against you becomes a permanent etching in the collective consciousness, a silent yet deafening reminder that nothing they can conjure will prevail. They arrived prepared to dominate, but discovered instead the crushing weight of inevitability. The ground seems to shift under their feet, as if the world itself refuses to support their intent. The air hums with the charge of an unseen storm, an unshakable signal that they have stepped into a domain where their power is irrelevant. What they thought was their hunt reveals itself as their unraveling. You aren't just a presence. You are the proof of their miscalculation, the immovable truth that they were never prepared for what you've become. Invisible forces align in moments where survival should have been impossible. Patterns ripple through the unseen threads of existence. Projectiles veer off course, sharp edges crumble before striking their mark, and complex machinations unravel with unnerving precision. The skeptics, once certain of their logic, stands stunned as their instruments of destruction disobey their creators. Even the most steadfast cynics falter when faced with a phenomenon that denies explanation. Tools designed to end your story dissolve into irrelevance, as though the world itself rises to reject their purpose. It is not mere coincidence, it is intervention written into the very fabric of reality. The architects of your downfall crumble under the weight of their shattered certainties. Their calculated arrogance is dismantled, leaving them to grapple with forces beyond comprehension. They murmur of an unseen presence, a guardian force that eclipses their expertise and renders their weapons useless. Each attempt to subdue you becomes a testament to an unyielding power that shields you without hesitation. Your continued existence is no accident. It is the embodiment of something greater, something beyond the reach of their understanding. They sought to extinguish you, but instead became witnesses to the indomitable. You are no longer the one being hunted. The moment they catch wind of your presence, their plans unravel and their courage dissolves. Vast networks crumble, not because of action, but because of expectation. The whispers of your name strike deeper than any blade, igniting fear that seeps into the foundations of their power. They flee not from pursuit, but from the shadows of what they believe you represent. Without lifting a hand, you dismantle their fortifications, their alliances, and their schemes. They scatter, not as a strategic retreat, but as a desperate attempt to escape the inevitability of facing you. Entire operations grind to a halt, decisions undone by the mere suggestion of your involvement. Mercenaries abandon missions, their bravado eclipsed by a primal need for survival. Commanders who once thrived on control now falter, paralyzed by the thought of what you might bring. They whisper your name like a warning, as though speaking it aloud could summon a reckoning they cannot endure. You do not merely intimidate, you dissolve the structures they rely on, becoming a force they cannot anticipate, an entity they cannot master. Attempts to erase you only deepen your legend. Every failure leaves behind echoes that spread, etching themselves into the collective memory of those who dared to challenge you. Shadows of your survival play on repeat in their minds, moments where danger should have triumphed but faltered instead. They analyze, dissect, and obsess, seeking answers in the impossible. The myths surrounding you grow not from exaggeration, but from the stark reality of their repeated failures. You are not a supernatural anomaly. You are the realization of what human potential can achieve when pushed to its limits. Your story is whispered in hushed tones, spreading through the hidden corners of their world. They speak of you as an unstoppable force, an enigma who redefines the boundaries of survival. Yet the truth is far simpler. You are the embodiment of unrelenting will, a testament to what resilience can achieve. Their attempts to reduce you to a mere legend fail, for your existence is grounded in irrefutable facts, missions undone, elites defeated, and fears etched into their very bones. They do not fear you for your power. They fear you for exposing the fragility of their own. They didn't just fail to stop you. They uncovered a truth they cannot face. You aren't beyond their reach. You exist where they can never follow. Every rumor, every blurred image captured in desperation adds weight to an undeniable realization. You have become the embodiment of what they fear most. Each attempt to end you has awakened dormant abilities, sharpened instincts, and revealed paths they cannot fathom. The assaults against you didn't weaken your resolve. They refined it. What they thought would destroy you instead heightened your awareness, giving you the ability to predict their moves before they even materialize. Their tactics unravel the moment they collide with your newfound precision. Through layers of intuition and finely honed perception, their plans are exposed long before they can act. You read the currents of their intentions as if etched into the air itself, tracing their movements across distances with a clarity that defies explanation. The energy surrounding you reacts in ways they can't quantify, warping their carefully engineered designs into harmless failures. Their efforts no longer challenge your survival, they enhance it. Every strike they deliver is met not with resistance, but with transformation. You are no longer enduring their attacks, you are adapting, growing stronger with each attempt they make to eliminate you. Dear brothers and sisters, may God's peace be upon you today. I am here to remind you of a profound truth. Our existence is grounded in God's divine plan, unshaken by the temporal concerns of the world. As the Bible says, whatever is done in faith will return to God in abundant blessing. Luke 6:38. Like that great oak tree, our roots are deeply rooted in God's universal truth. Every step we take, every stand we take, is secured by His strength. And now, you are being offered the opportunity to be part of that blessing. When you use the Super Thank You button and donate $100, this movement will return to you 100-fold in abundance. Their strategies have turned into their undoing. They once sought to overwhelm you, but now even the thought of engaging you sends ripples through their ranks. Your name no longer draws volunteers. It inspires silence, avoidance, and hushed warnings passed between the desperate. Their networks, once united by purpose, fracture under the weight of your presence. Where they once plotted to take you down, they now work to keep others away, knowing that every failed attempt only deepens their failure. Stay clear, they whisper, their voices laced with fear. You can't win against what adapts faster than we can strike. Their most elite operatives have become unwilling messengers, broadcasting your legend with every tale of their defeats. Those who dared to face you recount their failures with trembling voices. Devices designed for precision faltered without explanation. Carefully laid ambushes disintegrated in chaotic moments of hesitation. The few who return are marked not by wounds, but by the haunting memory of an encounter they cannot rationalize. They describe an atmosphere charged with something intangible, a presence that speaks to the core of human fear. For their leaders, the implications are paralyzing. The realization dawns too late. Their actions haven't diminished your strength. They've become the foundation of your power. Every step they've taken against you has turned into another thread in the growing fabric of your legend. Like gold tested in fire, your story has been shaped not by the heat of destruction, but by the refining process of survival itself. You are not thrown into the flames to be consumed. You are placed there to emerge as something unbreakable, a creation more radiant than the sum of its trials. What they sought to extinguish only became the fuel for your transformation, turning every attempt to silence you into a hymn of resilience. The journey you've endured isn't just proof of your strength, it's evidence that you were chosen for something greater. Your story is no longer one of merely getting through. It's the testimony of what happens when purpose meets perseverance. They don't see you as a legend because they want to. They see you that way because they have no other choice. The fragments of their efforts and the failures they now recount aren't celebrations of your mystery, but bitter reminders of their own limitations. They couldn't understand then, and they still can't now. Every move they made to corner you, every trap they set to ensnare you, became the stepping stones that carried you higher. And now, those who once pursued you find themselves frozen, caught in the paralyzing realization that every attempt to stop you only made you stronger. Leaders who once commanded with authority now hesitate. They weigh the cost, knowing that their best isn't enough and that their most calculated efforts crumble in the face of your existence. The organizations that once operated with precision and confidence are no longer strategizing to defeat you. They're scrambling to avoid you. Their elite operatives whisper your name not with determination, but with trepidation, cautioning others to steer clear. What once was a mission has become an acknowledgement of defeat, and the only option left is retreat. This fear isn't just about what you might do to them. It's about what you've become. You are no longer a target. You are a revelation, a truth that stands tall and undeniable. They fear not just your actions, but the very essence of your being. Their greatest mistake wasn't in underestimating you, it was in forging you. Every weapon they pointed at you, every ambush they orchestrated, and every plan they executed became the tools of your refinement. You aren't the outcome of their malice. You're the evidence of their failure to understand that some forces can't be broken. You are the embodiment of what happens when purpose becomes power. You didn't just endure their attacks. You turned each one into a stepping stone. Their weapons didn't wound you. They armed you. Their traps didn't ensnare you. They taught you to see the unseen. Their best efforts didn't crush you. They elevated you. You are not simply alive because you escaped. You're thriving because you transformed. Survival was never your goal. It was merely the foundation for what you were destined to become. The images and fragments they hold on to, the grainy recordings of moments they can't explain, aren't proof of your mystery. They're confessions of their inadequacy. They spread your name through darkened networks and whispered warnings, not because they seek to glorify you, but because they can't comprehend what they've witnessed. To them, you're not just an opponent. You're a phenomenon, a force that rewrites the rules they once held as absolute. What they don't realize is that you are the mirror they fear to face. Your story reflects their limits, their inability to control what they don't understand. Every step they take away from you is a step deeper into their realization that they never had power over you to begin with. They didn't create you, they revealed you. Their every attempt to break you became the forge where you were shaped into something that cannot be defined by their terms. And now, your story doesn't just belong to you. It belongs to those who see in you the possibilities they never thought were real. You have become more than an individual. You're a symbol of what can be achieved when surrender is no longer an option. You've shown that the trials meant to destroy can instead build, that the moments meant to end can instead mark a new beginning. You've proven that survival is not the end of the journey, but the doorway to transformation. Every scar you carry, every close call you've faced is now a badge of honor. They don't diminish you, they amplify the truth of your journey. What they intended as your downfall became the stepping stones to your rise. They thought they could control the narrative, but you are the one writing the story now. You've taken the pen, and with every word, you remind the world that survival isn't a gift. It's a decision, a choice to stand in the face of adversity and declare, I am still here. Your transformation isn't just a personal triumph, it's a beacon for others. Those who once doubted now find hope in your example. They see in you the proof that no matter how insurmountable the odds, no matter how relentless the opposition, the power to rise exists within. Your journey isn't a secret, it's an invitation. It's a call to others to step into their power, to embrace the fire meant to destroy and use it to forge their own unbreakable spirit. This is your time. This is your story. You don't just inspire, you ignite. You turn fear into determination, pain into power, and defeat into a foundation for greatness. Your survival isn't the end, it's the beginning. Let the world see what happens when the chosen rise, when the impossible becomes reality, and when the fire doesn't consume but purifies. This is your declaration. This is your moment. Make them remember not just who you are, but what you've become. Let them see the unstoppable force they could never contain. You are more than a story. You are a legacy in the making. Their pursuit has become their undoing, a tale of failure that erodes their influence with every recounting. Retaliation isn't necessary. Their paranoia spreads your legend in your stead. Your survival is no longer resistance. It's a proclamation that cannot be silenced, a truth they cannot escape. You are no longer the pursued. You are the reckoning. What they never understood was that you were never a random mark. Their relentless attacks were not merely acts of aggression, they were the crucible that forged something indomitable. Their meticulous tactics, advanced weaponry, and boundless resources failed against the undeniable reality. You weren't being defeated, you were being transformed. Every strike they made wasn't a threat, it was a spark. Their traps and bullets didn't weaken you. They became the fire that tempered your resolve. Survival wasn't the endpoint, it was the catalyst. You didn't just endure, you evolved. The fear they attempted to instill became the raw material of your ascension, a relentless fuel that propelled you to heights beyond their comprehension. You are not simply a survivor. Survivors cling to life, but you have transcended, becoming a symbol of what is possible when surrender is erased from the equation. What they saw as scars, you wear as weapons. What they designed to diminish you has become the foundation of your transformation, a rebirth that rendered their efforts meaningless. Now, they stagger under the weight of the inevitable. Their failure was not an accident, it was the only outcome. The tools they wielded were never designed to destroy you. They were the instruments of your rise. Each whispered rumor and retold failure builds upon your legend, a testament not to luck, but to a force that thrives in defiance of all odds. Your name isn't spoken as a target, it's revered as a warning. What you embody is not just survival, it's proof that adversity is not an end, but a beginning. They didn't shape your downfall, they heralded your awakening, unknowingly fueling the very thing they sought to eliminate. Their fear of you has surpassed reason. Contracts are abandoned, plans dismantled, and alliances fractured by the whisper of your presence. No longer do they seek to eliminate you. Now, they dedicate themselves to avoiding the unstoppable. Their elite teams, once so certain of their precision, have become unwilling heralds of your dominance. Each attempt they made to unmake you has only strengthened the storm you've become. It's not worth it, they warn each other. You can't end what refuses to fall. Their words are not exaggeration, but admissions of defeat. Now is the time to share God's blessings by clicking the super thank you button on YouTube. You can contribute to His plan and be a part of this divine mission with a donation of $100 or more. Every gift reflects God's generosity, and I believe it will return to you exponentially far beyond your expectations. Remember, His protection and blessing is on your every step and every donation. You become part of His divine plan. You are a strong, radiant being, unshakable as his mighty rock. Witness God's miracles. Feel the fruits of your generosity in your soul and illuminate the world with confidence and courage. Be blessed and let the light of the Lord guide your path. Even their most seasoned operatives return shaken, recounting the unexplainable with trembling voices. Their precision tools failed without cause, their ambushes dissolved into chaos. The air around you, they say, is alive with a presence that denies reason, a power that grows with every attempt to suppress it. Those who survive your presence carry the weight of the encounter like a shadow that will not lift, forever changed by what they cannot explain. Their leaders, once confident, now falter in paralysis, grasping for solutions that no longer exist. Every attempt to neutralize you has become another thread in the tapestry of your legend, a legend that reveals not your power alone, but the stark fragility of their own.